Under the starry night, adventurers gathered, sharing a hearty meal. The warrior of the group, Alex, asked what his party would like to do after the war is over. The sorcerer, Dorothy, answered that she would be diving headfirst into magic research. The brawler, Ryan, replied that he would be going back to his hometown. Roy the assassin asked Alex what he would be doing. The warrior replied that he had not figured it out yet. The assassin teased him since it looked like he had no ambition at all to keep him going. While drinking, Ryan suggested that he must try to settle down to have a drastic change in his life. The comment made the group freeze for a moment as they did not realize that the man was married. Alex paused and commented that someday, if he ever were to marry someone, he hoped that it would be with someone he would truly fall for. He dreamed of an ordinary and happy life with someone and hoped that it would bring him peace. Later, the group finally landed at the demon castle. Alex was fighting head-on with the demon queen. They continued to exchange attacks when the demon queen slightly overpowered him, pushing him back. His party had his back, supporting him in the fight. Dorothy passed him a crystal ball, and Roy told him to use the teleport crystal as an escape if things started to look bad. However, right now, escaping was not an option. They had to settle and finish the battle right there and then. They prepared themselves, and Ryan lunged at the demon queen and gave him a powerful punch. To his dismay, he did not manage to even scratch the enemy. Roy tried to attack as well and swung his weapon, but the demon queen successfully dodged all of his advances. Queen managed to grab his hand and swung him into Ryan, sending both of them to the opposite side of the room with brute force. Triggered, Dorothy activated her magical staff, and little plants sprouted from the ground. The vines suddenly reached the queen, holding him in place. While the enemy was still restrained, Alex unsheathed his sword and released an insane and powerful amount of mana. The blinding light pierced through the air straight to the queen. He managed to make a shield at the last minute and saved himself just in time. However, this did not change the fact that he was nearly fatally injured. He praised the warrior for his amazing power and strength. With this, he finally admitted defeat, making Alex hold onto his sword for support. He felt relief that the withstanding war against the demon clan had finally ended. He reflected on the life he had led so far. It was a big honor for him to defeat the demon queen, but the victory seemed empty for him. After the war, he decided to stop living as a hero and just be an ordinary citizen. He picked up his sword and swore to himself that he would find something that would give meaning to his life. Just then, the queen's armor started to crack and fall off from his face. Alex took a look at him and was surprised to discover that his sworn enemy was all along a woman, making him completely flustered. He could not believe that his heart was beating like crazy. He clasped his chest, and his body felt like it was burning up. The queen took a peek at him, confused. Even his party asked him why he had not finished the fight. Alex's face was beet red when he shouted that he did not have a clue either, and that all he knew was that his chest felt tight. Ryan suspected that their warrior was under a brutal mind curse. With this, they sought Dorothy's help in dispelling the curse. She tried to cure him while the queen still seemed confused about the situation. While Dorothy and the others tended to Alex, Roy stepped up and volunteered to be the one who finished the queen. He gripped his weapon, ready to take on the enemy. However, to everyone's surprise, Alex attacked Roy and blocked his attack, placing himself in between them. Feeling insulted, the queen stated that she did not need his pity. Alex denied this and tried to say that he was not pitying her. However, upon looking closely at her, he could not help but blush out of embarrassment. Overwhelmed, he shouted to ease the tension inside his chest. In disbelief, he could not even look her in the face. Seeing Alex still in a dire situation, Roy asked Dorothy if she had even managed to lift the curse. Dorothy just scratched her head since she discovered that there was not a spell to break to begin with. Confusion was written on everyone's faces. Ryan paused for a while and thought. He suggested that maybe Alex had fallen in love with the queen. It now all dawned on the warrior that the unfamiliar feeling inside his chest was what others called love. Upon this admission, his party and even the queen were all shocked by what he had just told them. Alex felt strange in his chest. He had never felt this way before. It felt like everything was even brighter and more beautiful now. Ryan scratched his head, wondering if their leader had really fallen in love. Roy found it incredulous that he had feelings for the enemy of mankind. Dorothy chimed in and agreed, commenting that she was a better woman for him than the queen. The two adventurers smacked her from behind, trying to put some sense into her as well. The brawler cleared his throat and told the warrior to look closely at the queen. He pointed out that she had menacing beastly eyes and sharp fangs enough to shred steel. He pointed out that she was totally different from humans and every bit full of flaws in her appearance. Aside from this, his first relationship would be very complex and difficult since she was from another species, and it would also affect their intimacy. Alex took a glance at the queen's body and peeled his eyes away after. Unable to help his attraction, he thought that what made her different made it even hotter. The squad found the situation frustrating and weird. The queen then tried to hide her body, saying that his stare was downright revolting and that she felt like she was in danger. Blushing, Alex realized that he had just practically confessed his feelings for her. She told him to stay back as she scooted away from him. With disgust on her face, she screamed that she would rather die than end up mated with the likes of him. Alex's chest felt like it was exploding in pain. Not even the fiercest battle he had been in had drained his soul like this. He looked back at his party and mentioned that a hero falling in love with the demon queen was bad. They could not believe that he had just realized that when they were trying to point it out to him earlier. The queen looked at him with contempt and could not believe that she was defeated by a lowly life like him. Embarrassed, Alex told her that he was serious about his feelings. Ryan just sighed. He deeply respected Alex. Behind his glorious image that was deeply adored by the public, he was a heartless hero who had slain countless demons. The man had never found fulfillment in riches, fame, or anything else. Whenever he looked at his friend, he always wore a gloomy look on his face, so it was completely new to him to see the glow on his face right now whenever he looked at the queen. However, Roy found this revolting and picked up his weapon. He could not accept the fact that the hero was willing to throw everything that they fought for away because of his foolish feelings. He lunged to attack Alex, trying to talk sense into him. Ryan screamed at the assassin for trying to strike their hero. In disbelief, Roy asked if they did not feel the same sickening feeling that Alex was foolishly in love with their greatest enemy. Ryan clenched his fist while Dorothy felt the tension rising. Roy told his friend to think it through and insisted that they kill the demon queen ultimately. Otherwise, he would have to eliminate him as well. Roy pushed his weapon against the hero's throat, ready to take his life with a wrong answer. The silence is deafening as they all wait for Alex's decision. Roy tries to shake him, reiterating that the answer should be simple for a hero like him. Alex clenches his jaw, torn on what to say. A hero like him is the hope of the weak and a symbol of unwavering conviction to defend humanity. However, all this time, the description does not fit him at all. A long time ago, he was a pitiful child abandoned by his parents and left to die on the streets. He does not remember the details clearly, but what he remembers was begging for someone to help him. Just then, a man in full armor noticed him and commanded someone to take him in. After that, he was taken in by the kingdom and raised in a facility. The children gathered there were all orphans just like him. Back then, the kingdom was losing the war against the demons, and they were desperate for a hero. And so, the facility where he was raised was established to produce a hero, and was called the Hero Selection Institute. Although they were still young, the officers trained them in a brutal way that affected his young body. Once, he dozed off while reading, and the instructor struck him to make him focused. They crammed magical knowledge into their heads even while they slept. Those who had good standing in class and in combat were rewarded, and the likes of him that were weak were given only the leftovers. Afraid of being discarded, he practiced and trained on his own. He became a hardened individual and killed his emotions to survive. However, in the first place, he believed that he did not have a heart at all. After years of successful training, he survived and was appointed to fight with his comrades in the hero's party to subjugate the demon queen. While traveling to the demon's lair, he explored different parts of the world, which were all foreign to him. He fought alongside his comrades and defeated beasts that dared to take them on. He told himself that by being a great hero, he would feel fulfillment, but it was not as he hoped it would be. Inside a tavern, he asked his friends why they joined the subjugation team. The others answered in unison that they wanted to defeat the demon queen. Additionally, Ryan wanted to master the art of the warrior and train his heart. Dorothy wanted to gain more knowledge in magical research, while Roy wanted to live off the reward money for the rest of his life. Ryan commented that they did not really sound like heroes and that they were just adventurers who happened to share the same goals but were selfish in their own ways. As the chatter continued, Alex fell silent and realized that he was different from the others. He had no dreams to fulfill and no personal desires. Right now, he had no reason to fight and did not have the unwavering conviction expected of a hero. He realized that he was just a hollow doll with nothing inside and was being used by the kingdom. Because of this, he craved to feel something real from the bottom of his heart. And then, out of nowhere, when he looked at the queen's face, he just knew. Roy laughs dryly at the confession, unable to believe that the hero has truly fallen in love with a demon. Alex grabs his comrade's hand, declaring that he does not want to give up on his feelings. Roy cannot believe that Alex calls his craziness love and simply likens it to his natural biological instinct. However, the hero stands by his feelings and refuses to give up on them. Because of this, he grabs Roy's hand, gathers power in his palm, and unleashes it toward the assassin. Roy is sent flying back to his comrades. While Ryan is tending to him, Alex grabs the queen and scoops her up, planning to escape away from the party. The trio is shocked by his actions, especially when he leaps while carrying the queen. They rapidly plunge down from the demon castle, while the three adventurers look at them in disbelief. The queen feels the same and asks if he is going insane. Alex fetches the teleportation crystal that Dorothy gave him earlier and uses it to warp to another place. The three see the glowing light and wonder what it could be. The sorcerer then realizes that it was the teleportation crystal that she gave Alex for emergencies. While plummeting, Alex whispers a silent apology to his comrades for basically betraying them and choosing love. Queen grabs the crystal and plans to teleport without Alex. Fortunately, Alex manages to stop her. They scramble to get the crystal away from each other's grasp until it cracks. The hero is in disbelief since there is a possibility that the item will not work properly now. After a blinding light explodes from the crystal, the hero and the queen are gone. Roy grits his teeth in anger, and the three of them are left to fight against the remaining forces of the demon army. They all ease into fighting positions while Roy thinks about where Alex and the queen could have teleported to. He guesses that it must be somewhere within the kingdom, and so it should not be hard to find them. This is a huge problem since they need to report the incident to the queen, and they do not know what the repercussions will be. Humanity has been waging the longest war against the demon race, and they have always been at a disadvantage until a superior hero appeared and proved that humanity could win the war. However, that said hero was charmed by Queen. They cannot report the situation like this since it will pose as a scandal and taint the name of the kingdom. Roy slashes through the enemies, wondering if Alex was thinking about the repercussions of his actions. He shouts his name in frustration since they are left to clean up after his mess. Meanwhile, Alex and the queen are transported to unfamiliar snowy mountains. At a party, a woman approached Alex and suggested that he come to her room tonight. Clueless, he asked why he needed to be there. Embarrassed, the woman ran away without even looking back. Ryan and Roy tried to tease him, telling him not to embarrass the princess of their nation, knowing too well that he did not understand the hidden remark. Naive, he questioned what he should do inside the princess room. Ryan asked if he did not even notice that the princess liked him. Roy commented that it was his chance to experience what men and women obviously like to do inside a closed room. Ultimately, Alex could not make sense of the situation. Besides, he had just met the princess yesterday, and it would be preposterous of him to join her in her room. Ryan just scratched his head and told him that love does not follow logic. At present, Alex tries to decipher their location. He cannot feel any mana around, and yet he can sense a strong presence of despair. Although he is in the middle of uncertainty, his heart feels warm and full while carrying the queen through the snowy mountains. The queen's voice pulls him back to the present, demanding that he put her down that instant. Wanting to stay close to her, he refuses to put her down, insisting that he carry her while finding a shed where they can keep themselves warm. Since it is useless to argue with him, the queen lets him carry her until they can find shelter. Eventually, they find a cave where they can take shelter from the cold. Alex finds the moment blissful. It is just the two of them inside the cave, and he definitely wants to grow closer to the queen. However, he wonders what he should do next. He thinks that he should start a conversation with her. With this, he asks if she is cold, and if there is anything that he could do for her. Observing her closely, he notices that she barely talks to him and wonders if she could be depressed about losing her castle. Naively, he casts a spell and lights up the cave, thinking that this could help with her mood. To his dismay, she still does not want to talk to him, and so he offers her a meal instead. He then shows her a wild animal he cooked, claiming that it could give her a boost of energy. In the end, nothing works, and the queen still refuses to talk to him. So instead, he narrates a story about two people who got stranded in the snowy mountains. According to the story, the two survived by pressing their bodies together and keeping each other warm. He then offers the space beside him, saying that his body heat could help her feel warm in the cold cave. Frustrated, she spits at him for continuously talking nonsense. Suddenly, she pushes him down, and he starts feeling hot. He then remembers what Roy told him before about what a woman and a man could possibly do together. He shakes off the thought, trying not to defile her image with his worldly thoughts. His mind argues with itself about what he should do. He wants the queen to take the lead because his thoughts are completely blank. Seeing him act so shy, she teases him. She looks down at him with a smirk as he asks her to be nice and calls himself pure. As she goes down on him, she suddenly grabs his neck and drains his mana. She insults him for letting his guard down and trusting his enemy. She sucks his mana to restore her own strength. Alex slowly loses his strength and lies unmoving at the queen's mercy. Alex feels betrayed as she continues draining his mana. He thought they were finally getting closer and asks himself if he was just being delusional. He forces himself to fight back since he cannot afford to lose any more mana. With this, he activates his power and the impact sends the queen flying to the other side of the cave. The hero cannot help but still worry about her and asks if she is okay. She confirms that she is fine and admits that she has been waiting for the chance to fight him again. She lunges at him, ready to punch him in the face. Alex does his best not to fight back and only dodges her attacks. He begs her to calm down and listen to him for a moment, but the queen keeps attacking him relentlessly. He asks her again why she suddenly started a fight with him. Instead of answering, she summons her weapon and attempts to strike him with it. However, he continues to dodge her attacks and refuses to retaliate. Frustrated, the queen questions why he will not fight her back, adding that this is their final showdown and that he should give his all. As she continues launching successive attacks at him, he declares that he will not try to harm the person that he loves, and so he will just keep evading her strikes. Queen scoffs at him and points out that demons and humans are meant to be enemies. With this, she continues attacking him without hesitation. Alex pleads with her to try to understand that he just wants to be with her. He suggests that they join hands instead of fighting each other. Queen clicks her tongue, still in disbelief that he refuses to fight her. She finds it impossible to join hands with him and looks at him as if he has gone insane. She loathes him more than anyone. Before, the demons always won the war. When he appeared, they suddenly lost their advantage. The humans began invading her lands and finally brought the battle to the capital itself, and all of this started because of the hero. He slaughtered many of her kin, and since she is the demon queen, who governs all of them, all she desires is to kill Alex and make him pay for what he did to her people. Because of this, she cannot accept his feelings at all. It is true that as the hero, he cut down many demons in the past. However, he cannot change the past, but from now on, he promises that he will never hurt another demon again. The queen's hand trembles as she wields her weapon. She screams at him, asking how she could possibly believe the absurdity of his words. To her utter shock, he suddenly incapacitates himself and cuts his own arms. With pure disbelief on her face, she questions why he would do that to himself. He tells her that he wants to convince her that he has no intention of hurting her, and that his feelings for her are genuine. He wants to move forward, even if it means throwing everything away. Now that he has finally found something that he truly believes in, he wants to hold on to it with all his strength. He then extends his remaining hand toward her. She finds it infuriating that an enemy is pitying her, and she can feel the rage boiling inside her. Alex is confused as to why she is still angry with him. She answers that it is only natural since he is the first human to ever defeat her, and she cannot allow such a pathetic outcome to stand. She grabs him by the collar and declares that once his arm is healed, she will fight him fair and square, and that she will not hold back anymore. She swears that he will regret not finishing her when he had the chance. She looks forward to seeing him consumed by regret and humiliation, and that he should die while being watched over by her. Alex grits his teeth, declaring to himself that as long as they remain the hero and the demon queen, they cannot be together. He wonders if they could ever change their relationship. Refusing to accept such a fate, he resolves that they must fight fairly now, even though he still has fresh injuries. However, if he wins, she must help him find a way for humans and demons to coexist peacefully and be united. She agrees to the deal, stating that if he wins, he will have her very life. Alex says the same and promises to fight her with everything he has. As she helps him stand, Alex suddenly remembers what she said earlier about watching his final moments, and he cannot help but feel flustered since it sounds like something a married couple would say. Frustrated, she grabs his face and tells him that harboring feelings for her while she is his archenemy is completely insane. She then gathers energy in her palm. Alex feels threatened, but to his surprise, the queen only intended to stop the bleeding on his arms. He thanks her for it, but tells her to finish him next time. The queen argues that she only did that so that in their next fight, he will be fully healed. Since the blizzard has already stopped, they check outside to see how they can get out of the snowy mountains. However, no matter how far they look, all they can see is snow. Just then, Alex remembers the teleportation crystal they used earlier. Confused as to why he brought it up, the queen thinks that he is asking her to take responsibility for breaking it. However, he points out that Dorothy told him that the crystal could be used as many times as he wants as long as he pours mana into it. The queen silently praises the sorcerer for creating such an incredible magical item. Alex makes it clear that he is not trying to make her compensate for breaking the teleportation crystal. However, he is unsure where the magical item would take them next if they use it again. Queen agrees to use the crystal again, even though they are uncertain of the outcome. To the hero's surprise, she places her hand over it and fills it with her mana as well. As the blinding light of the crystal envelops them, Alex thinks about his comrades and wishes that he could share his new goal with them, which is to make humans and demons coexist. The crystal warps them into another unfamiliar place. As they look around, they realize that they have been transported right in front of Alex's comrades, who are shocked at how quickly he has reunited with his party. Excited to fill them in with details, he tells them that he has a lot to explain and share. However, before he can finish his statement, Roy raises his weapon against Alex's throat, screaming at him for having the nerve to show his face to them. The air was frozen with tension as the assassin pointed his blade at the treacherous hero. As their teammates gasped in surprise, Alex acknowledged how he acted selfishly back then, but adds that he doesn't regret it. Although he apologizes, the lack of remorse in his face infuriates Roy, who swings down to punish the young man. When he dodged the first attack, everyone in the area stood still, finally seeing his missing arm. They were in disbelief. The anger they had towards the hero flipped, and they now scold him for getting tricked by the enemy. Alex was perplexed as his comrades turned their weapons at the queen. Glaring, the demon queen tells them not to get the wrong idea, as it wasn't her doing. This makes the party defend the hero, who they insist isn't that dumb. He proves this wrong by raising his remaining arm sheepishly and saying there's a reason for all of this. All three turned to him and screamed in disbelief. For now, they all calmed down, and Dorothy spent some time trying to heal the hero's severed arm. Roy was still enraged and demanded to know what the deal between the two is now. While it's a long story, there was no progress at all on the front of their romantic endeavor. The others barely managed to stop the assassin from punching the ridiculous comrade. Ryan is much more understanding, but nonetheless scolds him for coming back in this state. For now, there's one thing he needs to know, and it's on whose side the hero is on. Alex insists that he's still on humanity's side, and is asked how the demon queen comes into that picture. Queen scoffs at them, certain that even the three can't take her together. This obviously pushes the assassin's buttons even more. Questioning what the hero could possibly see in her, the young man smittenly admires her fiery attitude. The demon ignores them all with a more important question. She turns to Dorothy, calling her short and asking if she can fix the boy's arm. After looking back and forth in disbelief, the sorcerer with a similarly short fuse exploded in anger. The conversation reminds Alex that he has to fight the demon queen if he regains his arm. Before that, he has to tell everyone about the promise with the demon queen. He was just about to do it when Dorothy surprised them all. She flatly and frankly admits that she can't fix his limb. It isn't her area of expertise, but the wound seems completely sealed now. Instead of healing him, he'll need an entirely new arm forged with regeneration. Alex is flustered and suggests that there might be a spell that can help, but she shook her head. Basically, his arm could not be healed. To everyone's shock and surprise, the queen invites him to her castle, where there might be something that can help. Roy finds the entire thing absolutely ridiculous, but the hero happily accepts the offer and asks the others to trust him just this once. Again, he nearly gets cut apart by his comrades' attack. They have no idea what happened to him, but trusting him again wasn't possible anymore. People have gone through hell and back, and the royal army was practically wiped out from the war. Still, he can't seem to grasp the situation he's in at all. Alex is sullen, especially as he remembers his interaction with the demon queen earlier. He's learned his lesson the hard way. No matter what happens, he's a hero who can't run away from his responsibilities. This is a hard and undeniable truth to his life, but it doesn't mean that he's going to return to the kingdom and fight to slay the demon queen like they used to. The two of them agreed to fight one last time and let the victor decide on everything. As such, he believes that his mission is to create a world where humans and demons are equals. His comrades are left open-mouthed in shock and bewildered, but he still asks if they would all stand beside him and help his cause. While they were all silent, one other demon watched from far away, not expecting to meet his beloved queen there of all places. As the hero said something only he could, Queen questioned why he was speaking, as though he had already beaten her. The bond he felt was twisted but real, and for a moment, it felt like everything was soaring into place. However, the soaring feeling of his heart didn't last too long. He didn't realize how much hope that moment held. It all came crashing down as someone struck from above, diving and crashing into the ground they stood on. While the humans checked on each other among the dust, Alex worried about the queen, and was shocked to find her embraced in the arms of another demon. Clovis apologized for the rough entrance, and asked if his queen was hurt. Meanwhile, the hero watched in silence, observing the newcomer with wary eyes. Just then, Roy urgently took his blade out and identified him as the pursuer. He isn't some run-of-the-mill demon and is insanely strong, so they have to strike fast. The assassin was already moving in, but Alex wanted to wait and see how things play out first, especially with the demon queen right there. She faced her companion with curiosity and wondered what he was doing there. He was ordered to hunt down the remnants of the human army and heard of her disappearance. While she insists that she had an unexpected incident, but was fighting all the same. Alex couldn't help but note their close relationship, which didn't seem professional at all. When the demon hugged his queen tight, saying he's glad that she's all okay, the hero barely stops himself from screaming in anger. He shook as he turned to the others, confirming that their actions were too familiar. They all groan at the hero, whose emotions are all over the place, although Dorothy makes the effort to suggest that they may be siblings. Just then, Clovis apologized for getting carried away and hugging her, but she just sighs and says that this is always his excuse. Her uncaring attitude irks the young man even more. It was totally different from how she reacted during their encounters. Gritting his teeth hard, Alex, for the first time in his life, experienced a heavy and sinking feeling in his chest. As he couldn't care less, Clovis spread his wings, ready to leave. They can head back to the capital and return home hand in hand after he deals with the critical zone. An enormous magic circle appeared above the human and hummed with power. The ground beneath them shook and cracked, seemingly pushed down with unimaginable force that was enough to make them freeze. To the demon's surprise, the demon queen ordered him to wait, saying he can't kill the hero who she has a personal vow with. Clovis is confused by what he hears, so she adds that she swore by her name to fight the hero again. Alex's heart pounded, his cheeks turned red. No matter who she truly is, there's a bond between them that only he can feel. The demon's expression turns, and he calls her as headstrong as ever. In the end, the human is still an enemy, so her vow has no meaning. He turns to the hero and deems him unworthy of the queen. What's more, she must not act on personal feelings and consider the people she rules over. While she scowls at him, Alex gets up, indignant over his vow being insulted right in front of him. After all, the demon has no right to say such words to him. Clovis argues that he not only has the right, but also the duty to guide the queen. With this, the hero outright demands to know what his relationship to her is. While the gravity magic continued to bear down on them, the demon then apologized for rudely forgetting to introduce himself. Smiling at the humans, he reveals himself to be one of the generals of the demon queen's army. What's more, he's been designated as the queen's fiancé ever since they were children. This strikes Alex right in the chest, making him fall to the ground helplessly. The magic pushed him deeper and deeper while he tried to come to terms with what he just heard. Still in shock over the revelation, Alex pushed against the gravity magic, questioning why the demon queen didn't tell him. He asks if it's true. That said, he neither asked nor is she obligated to explain things to him. Given her dismissive response, his worries about her feelings toward the general are confirmed. She tries to repeat that she doesn't owe him anything, but he interrupts, nearly begging for an answer at the top of his lungs. A moment of silence passes. Sighing at his persistence, she decides to humor him and admits the claim. Looking at his feet with sadness, Alex hears Clovis playfully tease his betrothed. It was impossible from the start. As the hero and the demon queen, their relationship was never about romance in the first place. Even then, he wanted to get close to her just a little bit, so he desperately pushed forward. No matter what hardships awaited him, as long as he never gave up and kept moving, he believed that he could one day stand by her side as her beloved. Little did he know that the place beside her was already occupied by someone else. Emptiness filled the hero's shattered heart. What was he supposed to do now? Roy's voice broke through his daze, telling him to raise his guard. A barrage of huge stones were launched toward their party, nearly taking them all out while decimating the land they stood on. Amid the dust and rubble, Alex was the only one left standing. Seeing his comrades on the ground, fully taking the damage from the attack, he screamed in worry. They started to move and groan. Fortunately, they were all okay, but there was a bigger problem at hand. Jumping at the distracted hero was Clovis, who rushed in with his blade at hand. The air was filled with a loud clang as their weapons clashed with power. The demon smiled at the human, who blocked his swing so effortlessly. Just then, another blade pierced through the hard soil, and Queen screamed at the fiancé. He was blatantly disobeying her orders, and she questioned if he'll continue to be so impertinent. The hero looked, surprised by her outburst. On the other hand, Clovis apologized with a smile. As her general, he simply cannot stand down this time. With another wave of his hand, the gravity magic circle appeared again, this time above the queen. To her surprise, they bound her wrists and pulled them up, rendering her immobile. She demands to know what he's doing, but he just tells her to sit still, as he can't have her thrashing around. Suddenly, Alex's demeanor and eyes changed. The killing intent was strong enough to make the turn. With suffocating pressure, the hero fought against the man, who was stripping the demon queen of her freedom. Scolding him for doing as he wishes, just because of their relationship, he sends Clovis back with the power of a single hand. The two rivals stood before each other, their weapons at the ready. Alex couldn't put into words the unpleasant and entangled emotions in his body. Still, amid the chaos was one undeniable truth: he will never lose to the enemy in front of him. With their swords surging with power, they charged in with unwavering resolve, and the impact from their clashing blades sent shockwaves throughout the area. The two blades pushed forward, neither willing to give in. As both are deflected, Alex grit his teeth and decides to surrender to the intense feelings in his heart for now. Refusing to ever lose to the demon before him, he swung his sword with all his might, but Clovis merely smiled as he fought back play by play. It was truly impressive and splendid swordsmanship from the hero, but still, what can his one hand do against a general of the Queen's army? He's sent flying back. Despite giving everything he has, his blade just refused to cut through the target. Swinging again, the demon struck and said the human must be in love with his fiancée. His eyes give it away, and while he might be somewhat capable of doing something, Clovis wasn't the least bit threatened by his presence. He waved his hand and cast gravity magic once more, instantly pinning the hero onto the ground. The young man couldn't do anything much, even as his enemy insultingly placed a foot on his shoulder. After all, eradicating pests that cling to a beloved flower is part of his daily routine as a husband. He could try as hard and as long as he wants, but none of it will amount to anything. In fact, it was pathetic and laughable. Alex pushed against the ground, scorning the mouth that kept running. As he didn't seem to enjoy groveling in the dirt, Clovis is kind enough to assist. With the same gravity magic, he lifts his fingers and forces the human to fly high into the sky. While he couldn't do anything in the air, the demon spoke again, sending him crashing back into the ground in an instant. The other members of the party gasped at the horrific sight. Despite the hero's injuries, it seems he wasn't satisfied yet, so he's sent right back up. Roy called to his comrade, desperately telling him to fight back already. After being bashed into the ground, he immediately went back up again. While this cycle went on, he's told not to fall in such a place. He knew this, of course, but what was he to do when his sword can't even reach the enemy? The helpless young man was just about to accept his defeat. Just then, Queen's loud voice cut through the haze and blur. Turning toward her, he sees the Queen questioning what he was doing. As someone who rivals her power, she refuses to allow him to lose to anyone but her. It's true that he might not be at full strength with just one arm, but why would that matter to someone who swore that he'd defeat her and change the world with the fire in his soul? Clovis's power engulfed them all. Even he chuckled at the jealousy he was feeling, but the human was already battered and beaten. To decide the battle, he sends the boy down one last time. However, Alex lands on his feet and bursts with overwhelming energy. It was surging throughout his entire body. He thought life would be meaningless if he couldn't stand by the Queen's side. Despite this, his love overflows and just won't stop. Clovis found it revolting to listen to a human's drivel. The hero charged in. Since their hearts long for the same person, he'd like to share their thoughts about her. He starts by saying that the Demon Queen's smile is ridiculously cute. His jarringly smitten statement not only confuses the general and his injured comrades, but even makes Queen exclaim in disbelief. Nonetheless, his reinvigorated swing is strong enough to push Clovis away. His sword felt much heavier all of a sudden. Standing expectantly, Alex says it's his turn to compliment her. The demon finally scowled, finding the little game stupidly annoying. While the two people pining over the Demon Queen faced each other, Queen protested, pale from the human's childish words and suggestion. Even his comrades cringed in disbelief, unable to keep up with his antics. Fortunately, the hero looked like he was back to his old self. Brightly smiling, Alex tells the general to go ahead without feeling shy. Since he seemed against the idea of playing along with such nonsense, the human was more than happy to continue. With another swing, he now compliments Queen's crimson eyes and hair. Complimenting her bossy side, the young man unleashes a powerful kick. His praises and attacks weren't letting up in the slightest. In fact, his strength was increasing every time he spoke about her. The compliments turn into confessions, which soon dance on the line of indecency. Soon enough, he blatantly and shamelessly speaks on her body, making his companions groan in disappointment. In the end, he's a total freak despite his title. The Queen was crying with shame as she vowed to kill the hero. Similarly, Clovis scowled and called him an absolute degenerate. Charging at the young man, he throws a huge stone, screaming that her charms are much more than what he says. The boulder sends him crashing far away, but the general wasn't done and started showering Queen with his own praise. To him, she is the one true queen, who is fit to lead their people forward. While he's watched her from childhood, the human knows nothing about how lovely she was even before. Despite being covered in wounds, she caught a magic beast and gifted it to him. He once failed at making cookies, but she ate them all with a tearful smile and called them delicious. There are countless more memories they share, and he could never compare. Alex smiled as he faced another attack, admitting that he's jealous. As such, he'll set his sights on the future they can have. He'll ask the queen to try his cooking and have her say it's delicious. Cutting the boulders into pieces, he shares that he dreams of resting his head on her lap, while she comfortingly pats his head. Like earlier, the things he's saying are born from his personal desires. Clovis questions what was happening. Just moments ago, the human was on the verge of death, but was now starting to beat him. Nonetheless, the general fights back. There are infinite things Alex wants to do with the queen, and he argues that he must have them too. The general tells him to shut up, repeatedly screaming this as the blocks of earth started to float off the ground. It was getting dangerous, as even the other humans were being pulled to the sky. Looking up, they see something pitch black in the sky. The queen recognizes the spell and asks if he intends to level the entire area. Summoning a hypergravity sphere in the air, Clovis vows to adhere to his duty, something a hero who abandoned his won't understand. To do just that, he'll turn him into dust that will be swallowed by infinite gravity. Alex stood his ground in the face of the enormous spell and admits that he won't understand. The queen hasn't smiled once since the general arrived. Wanting to see the cutest smile in the world one more time, he releases all his mana output, sending a beam of pure power into the skies. With a heaven-piercing flash, he cuts through the dark sphere and shatters it completely, sending shockwaves throughout the entire terrain. Clovis is engulfed by the hero's attack, and he now understands. He admired the queen as a superior, and thought he was guiding her as a fiancé. Realizing that he never truly faced her, the general fell to the ground. The humans cheered, and the demon queen stared at his defeat. Meanwhile, Alex screamed with triumph. Turning to his beloved, he valiantly reached out and asked if she was hurt in any way. His smile was warm and bright, but she sighed at how he never ceased to exasperate her. She pinned him down and pulled on his hair, still embarrassed by all his words from earlier. The other members of his party couldn't do anything despite his cries for help. It's an ending far from what they imagined, but it was all over nonetheless. Clovis watched as the hero went under a healing spell and was completely stunned silent. Just then, Queen called to him, teasing the fiancé for getting completely thrashed in the fight. He argues that his magic just ran out and there aren't even any visible wounds. That said, he doesn't understand why they won't finish him off, even though he tried to kill the hero. After a moment of silence, she reveals that the young man swore to never hurt a demon again, even cutting his arm off as proof. Despite his power, he was a maddening man who'd cast everything away to follow his heart. While he truly gets under her skin, she can't help but smile. Clovis notices this smile and the warmth in her words, and finally understands why she's taken a liking to the human. Ryan asks what the plan now was. It's Alex who has the grand dream, but he's completely stumped as to what the next step is. Just then, Dorothy confidently scoffed. Reminding them of who made the teleportation device, she suggests warping into the capital. Her tears and screams of disbelief gush out when the hero shows the shattered crystal. On the other hand, Roy brought up his idea of negotiating with the demons and asks for a plan. After a few moments of thinking, Alex shares that he considered directly petitioning to the queen. The assassin sighed, saying they wouldn't have had to fight as a party if the world changed that easily. He scolds the hero for dragging people into his mess, without even having a proper plan. With that said, he's proven just how serious he is about this, so Roy agrees to lend a hand. Alex is stunned from the unexpected sentiment, even asking if he's sure. The young comrade's mind was already made up, but adds that the road ahead will be rougher than any demon queen battle they experience. They might not even see their families for quite some time, and there might come a day we have to forsake their beliefs. If any of them wants out, now is the last chance they'll have to leave. With a loud snap, Ryan smiled, saying he's already on the ship and isn't the type to quit halfway. Dorothy was also in, mostly to see an unconventional romance bloom. Roy couldn't believe her reason, but they argue that their friend must have his reasons. They then poke fun at the assassin, who was the loudest and most against it earlier. Alex smiled at his companions and thanked everyone from the bottom of his heart. Although the atmosphere was warm, the problem of healing his arm was still one that took the most priority. Returning to the capital as traitors is not an option, but so was heading into demon territory. There was one more move they could make. They can just negotiate with the queen and her grand general, who were conveniently right there. The queen glared at him, who asked for a guarantee that they wouldn't be attacked, no matter what the situation. Since Queen promised to heal Alex's arm in the capital, the others insist on coming with them. She accepts the request, albeit hesitantly, and is asked if she can really guarantee the safety of a known war criminal. In spite of the responsibility, she stakes her pride on a final agreement, saying it is what it means to be the queen. Her words stun the human, but more from ignorant confusion than respect and admiration. Roy wonders if she just goes with the vibe like Alex, and worries about negotiations. Just then, Clovis stepped in, offering to translate. Since the hero is so strong, she must achieve a total and crushing victory to make him submit. Flaunting her power is also how she managed to bring savages under her rule. The queen praises her trustworthy subject for the translation. This makes Alex grumble in jealousy, saying he wants to be trusted as well. Since the general often handles the negotiations, he offers to prepare a suitable stage. A long table materializes from thin air, along with the chairs for the two sides for them to sit on. The queen takes her place, and so do the others. Her logic holds up, and she has no problem with letting the humans into the capital. Nonetheless, the party is skeptical that her subordinates would accept that so easily. As such, they want a guarantee of safety and status. During the time they're there, it's downright impossible to grant such a privilege to enemies. Since there's no need to make it public, Clovis insists on treating the hero in secret and having them leave as soon as the rematch with the queen is over. If they don't like it, then they can get his arm healed in the human kingdom. The general knows they can't return, and that Alex can't attack demons anymore. Getting an idea of what he wants, Roy chuckles at his words and says he must be planning to restart the war as soon as things between them settle down. This makes Clovis sit properly and acknowledge the assassin's sharp mind. What could happen if the humans realize that the hero has been charmed by the queen? The morale of those who lost their symbol will plummet, and the kingdom will soon follow. Besides, if the hero won't even fight them, then their side has practically won already. Given the situation, it's undeniable that they're on the disadvantaged side and are in no real position to negotiate. The air was still with silence and tension. Surprisingly, Roy smiled as he played his final card. Whoever wins the duel between the hero and the queen will completely decide what happens next. This is the first time the general has heard of this term, and he stands at the sheer absurdity of Alex, wishing to create a world where humans and demons coexist. The general is expectedly quick on the uptake. If the queen loses, the hero becomes the de facto leader of demons and will shove unity down their throats. Clovis gagged and turned pale at the mere thought, but the queen banged her fist on the table, indignant that he'd think she would lose again. He gets his wits back and tries to convince himself that it's all just hypothetical. However, Roy had already noticed the crack and pressures him to eliminate that slim chance. He wasn't there to negotiate with the general, but rather threaten him into obedience. Clovis seethed with anger and started to lose control. Fortunately, he's brought back by a sharp command from the queen. She would have died in their previous battle anyway, and is as such, open to concession. Seeing how kind she is, Alex tears up and begs Roy not to make any unreasonable demands. The others surprisingly pile on, calling him a villainous bully. He gives in, saying he's doing all this to avoid useless fighting. A week later, in the kingdom of El Dorado, a wine glass shattered in the middle of the royal hall. The queen was furious, as they still had no idea what happened at the capital and could not contact the hero. A subject apologizes, saying they've reached other units but couldn't find the hero's party. Suddenly, a guard urgently rushed, holding a formal letter from the demon queen herself. Thinking that the demons have finally accepted surrender, the queen smirked. This doesn't last long, as he reads the contents in disbelief. It was a request for a temporary ceasefire from Queen, adding that she's welcoming the hero's party into their capital as envoys of peace. Alex stood some distance away from the borders of the demon capital. Even his companions couldn't believe that they were setting foot inside there again. The hero decides to brace himself this time around. A huge bell rang in the city, causing the demons to panic as they cannot be attacked, with their queen still missing. To their surprise, they see familiar locks of scarlet red hair. They rejoiced and announced that the demon queen had returned to them at last. With a warm and grateful smile, Queen thanked everyone for enduring so much. However, the celebration doesn't last long, as one demon notices another familiar figure. The hero and his party were right in the middle of their capital, brought by the queen herself. Alex asks that they don't panic, and claims to be an envoy of peace who will do no harm. They don't believe this in the slightest. As she mentioned in their battle, all of her kind hates him for killing countless of their kin. He knows full well that forgiveness won't come easily, so he placed himself on the ground, asking them to take their lingering hatred out on him. The hero laid there, and asked that they let his body bear their wrath. His teammates looked at him with embarrassment in their hearts. Even the demons couldn't stare straight, as he promised not to resist while they roast him alive. The queen outright laughed at the hero, who never failed to amuse her. The others drag him away shamefully, but he insists on doing what he can to appease them. A few growled and asked if he was really willing to grant their wish, so the queen confirms that he is, indeed, an envoy for peace, even revealing that he won't harm any of their kind. It was a relief to the demons, who were filled with hatred. They slowly crept towards the man on the ground, while the rest of the party raised their guards, reminding her of their agreement. She just stood there, unmoving, and happily commanded her men to go. The large canine warrior swung first, but his mace stopped just inches away from the hero's head. He challenged Alex to a duel. Confused, the humans all froze, not knowing what was happening, but the rest of the crowd just wondered why the captain got to fight first. As a compromise, the canine suggests dueling to decide the order of challengers. The queen laughed in true delight, saying it felt just like the old days. The humans still had no idea what was happening all of a sudden. It's their nature to test their strength, so duels without death on the line should have no problem. Alex thought they all hated him and expected everyone to outright reject him. Clovis agrees and feels awful that they didn't do that, but regardless of the past, they will fully follow the ruler who welcomed him with open arms. They've also slain humans, yet the hero still reaches out like the strangest one among them all. He smiles at how true it is. Just like that, the humans are set aside, while the demons conduct duels to decide the order of the fighters. The strict hierarchy and system was odd, even to Ryan, who was a martial artist. With that said, Alex thinks there's more to it. He remembers the time he spent in similar arenas, mercilessly cutting through everyone in front of him. They're holding a sword just like he was, but for some reason, this place felt warm, a complete opposite to the cold life he lived before. It must be because of the demon queen, who led as their queen. Wanting to understand the demons better, he aims to find something he can do, and asks his companions if they would all help him. Alex burned with passion, as he decided to open a hero's training dojo to help their kinds get along. As usual, his ideas were over the top and completely outside the box, leaving his friends baffled. Alex cheerfully accepts the duel as if it would be fun. He dresses up in complete karate gear and a bandana for the occasion. Alex recalls how he told his team that he would like to bond with the demons. Roy thinks he was being a total meathead for thinking that this could happen just by using his fists. Alex replies that he bonded with Clovis after crossing blades. In the present, a crowd of demons surrounds a fighting ring. Alex stands at the center of the ring, cheerfully asking the demons to come at him in the order they challenged him to a duel. The first to step onto the stage is the gigantic Dast, the captain of the demon army's 2nd Infantry Battalion. Alex recognizes him as the first demon who challenged him the other day. Dast is annoyed that the human is not wearing armor and is holding only a plain sword when he wants him at his best. Alex takes a fighting stance and tells him that more gear is not necessary. Dast takes out his metal spiked club, angered by the thought that his enemy is taking him lightly. The demon crowd cheers for their captain to crush the hero, but also reminds him to only knock him out. Roy asks the demon beside him if Dast is strong. The demon proudly tells him that their captain is nicknamed Dast the Pulverizer because his huge weapon has crushed many foes. Dast swings his giant club at the hero. Alex parries it with little effort. The crowd is shocked to see how easily the hero stops their captain's strike. Alex continues his offense, trapping Dast in a defensive stance. Dast does not understand how Alex is so strong despite his small body. To counter, Dast prepares his finishing move. A demon in the crowd begs him not to use a technique that would be too much even against a hero. Dast jumps high into the air and comes crashing down like a falling meteor. He strikes the ring with an explosion. When the smoke clears, Alex is revealed to have stopped the weapon by blocking it with a single finger. The hero apologizes and then punches Dast in the gut. The hit knocks the wind out of the demon. Alex's party cheers from the sidelines. Even the demons cheer, seeing that the hero has taken down their captain. Behind the crowd, an ominous crow watches the fight. Through its eyes, the queen and Clovis view the battle through a magic orb in their castle. Clovis tells his queen that he is impressed she found a way to earn the demons' respect for Alex. They hear the demons praising Alex's strength through the orb. Back at the ring, Alex tells Dast that they are now in the hero's dojo, where everyone can be trained under his guidance and grow stronger. Clovis cringes at the hero's attitude, since he is training his enemies to become stronger. The demon crowd thinks Alex is being arrogant because of his declaration to teach them. They shout that they came to fight, not to be preached to. Alex is surprised and nervous that things are not going the way he hoped. Dast tells Alex not to humiliate him further with his nonsense. From the castle, Clovis sees that while they have accepted Alex, the human will never truly be accepted as a friend. He believes Alex should have simply flaunted his strength and stopped there. The queen believes it is not over yet and smiles, knowing the man will not give up. Back at the ring, Alex emits a powerful aura that looks like a tornado to the spectators. He grabs Dast by the arm and squeezes hard, telling him that he will make sure to teach him well. Dast agrees to do as he says just so the hero will let go. As Dast heals his arm, he reflects on how Alex's strength rivals that of a demon queen or general. Alex is pleased that his words are getting through, unaware that the demons are now afraid of him. Dast hands Alex his club so the hero can teach him how to handle the weapon. Alex swears that Dast will grow stronger in just a few minutes, putting the demon on edge. Alex swings the club while giving instructions, proud enough that his eyes sparkle. However, Dast grows frustrated because Alex is poor at explaining himself, making everything sound like gibberish. Alex's friends cringe at his lack of teaching skill and volunteer to translate his instructions. The queen watches from her castle, smiling as things work out. Dast swings his mighty club at Alex with enough strength to push him back. Alex's sword breaks in two. Dast is delighted that the training worked and exclaims to his fellow demons that they have grown stronger with this new technique. He offers Alex his hand and apologizes for his earlier rudeness. Alex smiles, glad that he has made progress, and agrees that working together in the future is something to look forward to. The queen and Clovis watch as the demons continue to duel Alex, now aiming to grow stronger instead of venting their rage. Queen is pleased by her people's progress and admits that she also wants to attend the hero's dojo. Hearing this makes Clovis nervous. He drinks his tea to calm his nerves and admits his surprise, knowing her hatred for taking enemy guidance. The queen says she has set aside her pride because she knows they cannot defeat the hero as they are now. She believes learning more about him through his teachings is important and asks for Clovis's approval. Clovis agrees, but quickly adds that he still cannot fully support it. With a serious expression, he explains that Queen herself cannot take lessons from the hero, as it would appear submissive. Deep down, he dislikes the thought of Alex touching her during sword training. Though frustrated, Queen reluctantly agrees. Meanwhile, Dorothy gawks at her assigned bedroom, amazed by its size and luxury. Expecting a relaxing bath, she enters the bathroom only to find the Queen already soaking in a bubble bath. Confused, Dorothy screams internally. The Queen asks Dorothy to turn her into a man. Dorothy imagines her as a large, muscular man and is horrified. Queen explains that she wants to enter the hero's dojo. Dorothy hesitates, knowing that strengthening the demon ruler is a disadvantage. Queen admits she is swallowing her pride despite knowing it is improper. She offers Dorothy riches, but the mage refuses. Queen explains that Alex would not train her seriously and that she wants to face him as an equal warrior. Dorothy's eyes sparkle as she realizes this is a perfect opportunity for romance. She excitedly agrees to help. The Queen thanks her, saying she is in her debt, and they shake hands to seal their promise. Dorothy feels like Cupid. Meanwhile, Alex is bummed that he has not seen the woman he loves for a long time. The next day, everyone gathers at the fighting ring again. Dorothy complains that she has not slept after crafting magic items all night to transform the Queen. Alex stands at the center of the ring, asking for the next challenger. A mysterious man enters the stage. It is the Queen, now in male form. She explains that the gem attached to her neck transformed her and allows telepathic communication with Dorothy. Dorothy excitedly glances at her friends for their reactions. Unlike her, Roy and Ryan cringe, saying the demon looks like a Demon Queen cosplayer. Dorothy worries Alex might see through the disguise. As Alex approaches, he pats the Queen on the head, mistaking her for a brave young boy. This infuriates her, and she grits her teeth. Dorothy telepathically urges restraint, helping her maintain composure. Dorothy advises starting with small attacks and gradually increasing strength. The Queen gives a thumbs up in response. Alex prepares for the duel. The Queen takes a fighting stance and rushes forward, throwing a punch that sends a shockwave through the structure behind Alex. The crowd is awestruck by her raw strength. Dorothy realizes she was foolish to think she could control the Queen. The punch is so powerful that it breaks Alex's sword and is about to hit his neck. By instinct, the hero calls his magic sword. It zips past the demon crowd and into Alex's hand. The Queen punches again, creating another powerful explosion. When the smoke clears, Alex is revealed to have blocked it with his magic sword. Alex now respects his opponent, so he asks for her name. The Queen answers that her name is Rouge. Her wording sounds unconsciously feminine, shocking Roy and Ryan. Dorothy tells her friends that she bets Rouge is just a big fan of the Queen and copied how she sounds. She points out that Rouge's outfit even looks like a cosplay of the Demon Lord. Dorothy telepathically tells the Queen to sound more masculine. The Queen introduces herself again in a more masculine manner, so Alex naively suspects nothing. The demon crowd is shocked that one of their own is strong enough to force the hero to use his magic sword. Rouge's magic reminds Dast of someone powerful, but he cannot place it. Dorothy notices Dast's suspicious look and worries he might figure it out. She warns the Queen that her subordinates are growing suspicious. Queen is frustrated, as she was just getting into the fight. Meanwhile, Clovis is at the castle and immediately sees through the Queen's disguise. The viewing crow lands on Dast's shoulder. Moments later, the demons begin leaving the ring. Dast tells Alex that the general is calling for them, so they must leave. Roy grows suspicious of Dorothy and threatens her with questions about why Clovis summoned the demons. Unable to meet his gaze, Dorothy claims she has no idea. Secretly, she thanks Clovis for reducing the number of onlookers. The queen braces herself for battle again and summons her signature giant sword. The combatants clash blades. Roy points out to Dorothy that Rouge's weapon clearly belongs to the queen, leaving her no choice but to reveal the truth to her friends. She believes what is happening is important for Alex's love life and future. She looks excited, while Roy rubs his face, knowing this will only cause more trouble. Alex recognizes his opponent's fighting style and weapon, and tells Rouge that he knows he must be related to the queen. Proud of himself, Alex believes he has figured it out. Roy and Ryan cringe at their companion's foolishness. Dorothy smugly claims she is simply a genius at disguising the queen. Alex grabs Rouge by the shoulder and insists she call him Big Brother. Rouge immediately refuses. The rejection dampens Alex's mood. Dorothy grows frustrated that the queen missed an opportunity to gain Alex's trust, forcing her to agree to at least call him by his first name. Dorothy sparkles with joy at hearing this, much to Roy and Ryan's discomfort. Alex's mood improves, to the queen's annoyance, and it reignites his fighting spirit. Swearing in the queen's name, Alex vows to fight with everything he has. The queen proudly assumes a fighting stance. Their blades clash again, sending shockwaves through the area. The clash between Alex and the queen continues. Queen tells the hero that she is having fun, and Alex agrees. Despite Alex having one less arm since their last battle, the queen senses she is still at a disadvantage. She smiles, realizing the true gap between herself and her rival. She presses her attack, glad that this means she still has much to learn from Alex. Alex dares her to stop holding back and strike him with everything she has. His encouragement annoys her. She demands to know what she is lacking. Alex naively replies that he has no idea. This makes the queen want to scream. He continues by saying her technique is already perfect and needs no correction, making her regret ever swallowing her pride to seek his guidance. Alex grabs her shoulder again and reassures her, only worsening her frustration. Alex admits that fighting Rouge reminds him of someone special, making his heart dance. He confesses that fighting this person taught him how enjoyable it is to fight for himself. The queen is stunned. She recalls how Alex never smiled during their previous battles. She realizes they are alike. She has always fought as a ruler, burdened by her people with every movement. She understands she has been fighting under the weight of her crown all this time. Queen attacks again, this time spreading her wings, obscuring her movements. Alex focuses on the massive weapon he can still see and blocks it. She abandons the weapon to strike from behind. As she punches Alex, she realizes she is finally free from the weight of her crown while fighting as Rouge. Alex is wounded and pushed back, yet he is pleased to see her evolving style. The queen rises into the air, recalling how she once enjoyed battle as a child before responsibility bound her. She summons an army of weapons that hover behind her. Facing Alex, she prepares her attack. Alex declares he will withstand anything she throws at him, further exciting her. She unleashes the barrage. Alex struggles to block the rain of weapons, his feet sliding backward from the force. Dorothy, Ryan, and Roy are shocked, as they have never seen Alex push this far. Alex recalls the moment Clovis nearly defeated him, and how the queen encouraged him to never lose unless it was against her. The memory fuels him as he deflects each weapon, even the final strike. Just as he relaxes, the queen appears behind him, disarming him and holding his neck at her mercy. Alex praises Rouge's performance. Exhausted, both struggle to catch their breath. Smiling, the queen offers her hand and thanks him for making her stronger. They shake hands like close friends. Roy is irritated that Alex strengthened the most dangerous enemy. Dorothy is secretly disappointed that the training lacked the romantic closeness she imagined, but seeing them happily discussing battle, she admits they might be perfect for each other anyway. The duels continue over the following days. Alex reflects on starting the hero's dojo to bond with demons. He fights daily, sometimes joined by Roy and Ryan, who teach techniques as well. On certain days, Alex and Rouge continue their duels. One day, at the demon castle, Clovis bursts into the queen's chamber, urgently announcing a problem. His distress worries her. Soon after, fewer demons attend the dojo. Eventually, only Alex and his friends remain. Alex wonders why no challengers appear. Dorothy says she has not heard from the queen. Suddenly, they hear a distant sound and spot a strange light that might be on fire. Alex urges them to move quickly. When they reach the source, what Alex sees leaves him stunned. Alex and his friends see that the demons are holding a night festival with a bonfire. In the area, there is also a lot of food being cooked over open flames. Dast approaches the humans and tells them that they have prepared a feast for them, which shocks them. He welcomes them to the banquet for the hero's party. Alex's jaw hangs open in total disbelief that this is happening. The hero's party goes to their wooden table, relieved that nothing terrible has occurred. Roy's eyes sparkle at the sight of booze on the table. Dast announces the start of the party and introduces the host, who will kick things off. The queen walks to the front. Alex's eyes are fixed on her as she appears, looking beautiful in a dress. The demons cheer for their ruler. Meanwhile, Alex is love-struck by her presence. He wants to approach her, but Ryan has to restrain him. The queen gives a speech about how glad she is that everyone has gathered and that the feast was prepared by their finest chefs. She encourages everyone to have fun, and the area rumbles with cheers. Everyone raises their mugs in a toast. The crowd eats and chats merrily. Alex eats so quickly that Ryan tells him to slow down. The hero replies that seeing the queen for the first time in a while makes it impossible for him to stay calm. He stands up, intending to greet her. Dast places a hand on Alex's shoulder and asks the guest of honor where he is going. It turns out Dast has brought them even more drinks, making Roy's eyes turn into hearts. Alex's path is blocked by Clovis, who forbids him from seeing the queen. As Dast distracts Clovis, Alex seizes the opportunity and runs to the queen's table, only to find it empty. He asks Kage, the chef, where she went. Kage explains that their ruler ordered them not to tell anyone her whereabouts. Alex is horrified that he might not see her tonight and does not know when he will see her again. He bows deeply and begs Cage to tell him where she is. Alex breaks into tears, forcing Cage to relent. Filled with excitement, Alex runs toward the queen's location. As he runs, he recalls the fun times he shared with the demons through the hero's dojo and realizes that not a day passed without thinking of the queen. He remembers how every meal would have tasted better if he had shared it with her. Thinking about her absence filled him with a loneliness he had never felt before. He slows to a stop, considering all the things he wants to tell her. Before him stands the queen on a veranda overlooking the banquet from above. Alex drops to his knees and bows his head. The queen asks what he is doing. Alex apologizes for intruding when she wanted to be alone. She gestures to the view of her people laughing, drinking, and celebrating. Alex asks if she stepped away so they would not feel awkward around her. She admits that being their ruler forces them to behave differently around her. Alex blushes, realizing this is the first time he has spoken casually with her. He had expected her to punch him the moment she saw him. They begin talking about the training at the hero's dojo, which draws them closer. Noticing the demons preparing the main course, the queen says she should return to the party. Alex asks her to stay just a little longer. He shows her papers listing countless things he wants to do with her and admits his frustration at not making progress. He asks that they complete at least 10 items today. She replies that it does not need to be done immediately. Alex counters that he might not see her for a long time and tightens his grip on the papers at the thought. His behavior irritates her. Remembering that she owes him for the lesson he taught her during their duel, she agrees to indulge him by granting the item he wants most. She instantly regrets this, fearing she may have agreed to something suspicious. Instead, Alex asks for her name. The request shocks her. He explains that he wants to know the name behind her title. Embarrassed, she tells him that addressing the queen by name is disrespectful, disappointing Alex. After a pause, she adds that she will make an exception for the one warrior she considers her equal. Fireworks fill the sky. Beneath the glowing lights, she tells him her name is Liz. Alex is stunned. He tells her that her name is beautiful and repeats it several times until Liz tells him not to say it so casually. Alex realizes he is the first human to ever call her by name. Unable to endure him any longer, Liz announces she is returning to the party. She steps to the edge of the balcony and takes flight with her wings. Smiling, she tells Alex she enjoyed talking with him before leaving. Overwhelmed with happiness, Alex collapses to the ground, smiling as he gazes at the shooting stars.